Hey everybody, welcome back to Rift Reactions. I am your host, Kingmaker. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for doing all that stuff. Today I have a very special guest with me. He's been on the channel before. You know him, you love him. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Bonsai. Bonsai, how's it going?
I don't know if I'm a legend.
Of course, a legend in your own making. Maybe maybe
Mm,
I'm maybe I'm just
that's
seeing into the
good.
future. There we go. We'll go with that. I appreciate you coming on. Today we're going to react to Best Blind Picks 3.4A by Rift Guides. Just
Mm.
wanted to get your opinion, what you thought about what they have to say, because these are challengers. They're pro content creators, so I am curious as somebody who runs or coaches a semi-professional team, what your thoughts are on these blind picks for 3.4A.
Um, yeah, I mean, right now, like because of a lot of the changes in the meta, uh, I think everybody's just kind of catching up, but at their own pace. But um, right now, it's just there's definitely a lot of good flex picks out there that you can just kind of show off, and they might think, at least in solo queue, they might think, oh, the Gragas. Oh, they make a Baron. Oh, well, but they send a mid, and it's you know you kind of can bring these pocket picks out, and there's also a lot of champions right now that because of the item changes, they're just really strong. Blind picks in general have always dominated. I think solo queue,
Yeah.
which is I think like I hope what this video is focused on mostly.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. It's probably going to be for blind picking in solo queue. Um, yeah, like you said, they're flex champions like the Gragas, the 80 carry Rammus. So you never know what's going to come out.
Mm.
So that was obviously that last one was a joke, but I would pick that. So I guess without
MSOP.
yeah, exactly. Without further ado, I guess we'll jump into today's video. Let me know if you can see this.
What's up, friends of Wild Rift, and welcome back to another Rift
Yeah.
Guys Wild Rift
Cool.
video. And for today we are going to take a look at the best available blind picks for this patch. When it comes to blind picks, it's always a thing to ask yourself, what champion can you pick without knowing what the enemy is going to pick? But before we hop into the video, let's talk about our question of the day. What
Ooh,
champion
question.
would you
That
blind
that
pick?
guy.
Let me know in
That
the
guy's
comments
finding
below.
Lee Sin. Wait a minute. This guy's fighting a Lee Sin top.
As Jace. Look, Lee Sin top works, man. Lee Sin mid works too, and support.
Where did this content from? It's a video of Jace fighting a Lee Sin top. That's so funny. Anyway, what champion would you blind pick?
Lee Sin top. Oh man, blind pick. Gosh. Like you were talking about earlier, Gragas would be a great flex. Vayne, you could probably blind pick top lane, and not have a bad matchup. Yone, whatever you want to
Yeah,
pronounce him, just
it's
so
it's
strong.
Yone.
Yone,
Yeah, Yone.
Yoni,
Emphasis on the ne. Yone.
Yone. What champion would you blind pick?
Right now I've been blind picking Karma and Nami because I
Okay.
play support. Because for me, Nami's my one trick, and um, I can just do a lot with her and the items, the changes to support items on Sickle. With her second ability, you can just farm so much gold early. So I just go full AP with her, and you definitely like help can make an impact as a support, which is sometimes hard. And then um, Karma, I think because some people, at least in my because I'm in Masters right now, a lot of people don't know how to play it, and the poke is really good, and you can just do a lot with her. She's also really versatile, and the matchups. That's the big thing, really. Like a lot of people just don't even know the matchups, so they'll just like play whatever they feel comfortable or they feel like they're confident in.
Yeah.
So sometimes you get lucky, and Karma can do really good at playing weak side, and so can Nami.
I might have to learn Karma. After they gutted my kitty cat Yumi, I might have to learn Karma. The problem is, like, I'm so used to her on PC where you activate her ultimate, her fourth skill, to be able to empower one of your abilities, that not having that on an active but being a passive instead really throws me off.
I really like the adjustments they did to Yumi because I feel like now she's actually a balanced champion, and I think that she can still do a lot, and at least in solo queue. She's definitely been pushed off the shelf as far as priority picks in competitive. Um, but I think she still can do things. I mean, she pretty much just has a font of life passive right now.
It was great for
So
me because I was streaming at the time, right? And Yumi, you didn't have to do anything to stream. You could just pay attention to chat, just press the third skill button every once in a while, and you're good to go.
yeah,
But
now you actually have to think about it.
yeah, now I have to actually realize how bad I am at this game. So moving on after we picked our blind pick champions.
For me, it is always going to be Jace, and every one of you
Gonna
knows
blind
that I'm
pick
a
Jace.
Jace enjoyer. Let's just
Yeah,
be honest,
Jace
I'm
is a really
filthy
good blind
Jace
pick.
abuser, and that's how it goes. But let me tell you why Jace is so good as a blind pick in solo queue. Jace is a bully when it comes to laning. He has access to the double amount of abilities than other champions in
That
this
makes
game.
sense.
Well, not strictly double, but rather than 4, he technically has 6.
It's because his
with
cooldowns
some
reset
different
really
passive
fast when
things.
he
For
alternates
every
in
of his normal
between
ability, there's a
hammer and
separate other
cannon.
normal ability
Yep.
with a separate cooldown that can be interlinked,
And like,
used in
yeah, he
combinations,
is really
or
good mid or
different
Baron
things
lane,
as
so
you
you can just
please.
like
Or
flex it, and then they won't. You can keep playing it. They
Oh,
won't
okay.
know.
see
Like
them fit. But for Jace,
they won't
it's
know there.
kind of insane what this champion provides.
Yeah,
from the
he's
top
able
pick
to.
perspective.
If he falls behind, he's able to
Not
play the
only are you
poke game.
able to go
If
for a
he's
Hullbreaker, which allows
well
you to
ahead,
sprint
he's
for the
able to
entire game
play the
away,
dive game.
you're also able to go for
Yeah.
Mana Mune, which is the best scaling for your champion. But for laning, it's all about raw power. It's about your superpower and just stomping the lane as you
So
see
he's just
fit.
like a casual
On
video
level
of
1,
his
you can
Baron
already
laner
demolish the
AFKing.
opposition by waiting
It's
in a
gotta
brush
be.
for them and then just
Because I was gonna say he
beating them
whipped
with your
Lee Sin
face
out of
down.
lane and he
Don't
hasn't
forget,
came back.
compared to other
He
champions,
first
you
he
have
killed the
2
Lee
abilities
Sin, and
available,
it's like, all right, cool.
which is a
While you're
major
watching me
difference.
farm,
Also,
take this
make sure to
turret,
not
gonna play
use
some
your first
music,
empowered auto attack on a
and
minion.
tell you how
If
awesome
possible, use
Jace
the
is.
empowered auto
Jace
attack
is.
to gain the
Exactly.
various benefits.
How awesome this champion
Things you
is
can
while
also
my
do
enemy
is using
champion
your
Is
thirst
not
ability
here.
first before using
it's
your
not
third
here.
ability in ranged form. This way, you're
It's
giving the
good
enemy less counterplay
because
or
Jace is
less room
super
to
fed now,
react.
so
Another thing you
even
need
if
to
he
do
gets
is
dove.
transitioning into your melee form with your ranged second ability. With that, you'll transition the attack
This is
speed
what you need
steroid
to
from your
do when
ranged
you're
ability
fighting
into your
nobody.
physical melee ability.
Just shove the wave over.
With
Oh no,
this,
Lee
you
Sin's
just
mid lane
beat
now.
up the enemy with your hammer
I
I
constantly.
just saw him on the
Also,
minimap.
don't forget that you
feel
regain
like if you had
mana
gotten
when you
like
auto
he,
attack
there
enemy
wasn't anything
champions or
obstructing the
minions or any
screen, so
units
that whole
in your
time while he
melee
was
form,
talking, if he
which
had an
is
actual
kinda neat
clip of
when you
him
consider
fighting
everything,
somebody
because if you
in a
swap
lane
abilities,
matchup instead of an
you will
AFK
run
Baron
wild.
laner, then it would have been like
Another
a lot
thing
more
you
quality
need to
content.
know is the
Ah,
fact
But
that
because like you're
the
sitting here
resistances
watching
and
him, like
attack speed in your melee
he's
form.
talking to you,
So
but like
if
what are
you
you
know
actually
that the
looking
enemy
at?
is gonna burst you, make sure to
exactly.
swap
Just
into that
farming.
melee form to receive less damage. It's gonna save you more than once in your lifetime.
He
Believe
just
me.
picked like a game that he's
Next
like, yeah,
one
I
we're
know I
gonna
can just like
address is
get in
Morgana.
here,
And
blind pick
Morgana is one of
Jace
those
and win.
champions that is a
This pretty sure
non-interactive
it's
champion.
PvP.
You can view Morgana as like a slow approaching
There's a
doom
recent
magician.
video
It's the
too.
impending doom nobody wants to face, and once the doom is around the
A
corner,
recent video? What do you mean?
well, the game looks pretty much dire.
Oh
Because
yeah, this is
because
yeah.
Yone
You
is in
need
there.
to have Liandry's Torment
Yeah,
in
this is
your
a couple
item
days
build.
old.
If you don't have Liandry's Torment on Morgana at any point in the game, I'm sorry, you are heavily.
How do you feel about this? Morgana being a good blind pick. I mean, you could take her jungle, you could take her support, you could take her
Yeah,
mid, you could probably take her top and get away with it.
yeah. Morgana's pretty strong. They're gonna nerf her soon. They're gonna nerf her more soon. So
Okay.
but I think she's pretty strong blind pick for sure.
I think so too. I didn't even consider Morgana when I was looking at it, so I don't think he's wrong with this pick. Like you said, Jace is strong
Yeah.
early. Morgana's valuable throughout the game. For some reason, her pool just steals all the objectives from the enemy junglers. But yeah, no, like you said, if it would have been like quality, it would have been like a little bit more action on the screen. I'm assuming if we were
Yeah,
making
it
that
would have been like,
judgment.
yeah, it would have been like, oh shit, you know, like he's talking about why Jace is a great champion. Let's see
Exactly.
him why he blind picked Jace in a Baron lane matchup.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Griefing. Morgana relies on this, and with the hyperscaling Randy's Torment that scales with AP, it becomes super broken on this champion. Because in actual reality, all you will do is plaster the ground with your second abilities and let the enemy walk through those
That's
puddles.
not going to be
The
true
moment they tap
anymore.
Okay. Morgana's best item is by far Leandri's Torment. Every build on her needs it. I mean it. What do you think is the best build for her?
Well, right now that's true. As
Okay.
of right now, that's true. But the patch is about to drop in a couple days.
Okay. What do you think the new item is going to be? The new hot item for Morgana?
Mm, probably go Riftmaker if you're jungling for sure, and keep running that. Or you just like buy Rylai's second
And just slow
to
people
get
down.
slow. Yeah, like maybe you just get Leandri's later, or I mean, you never know. Like people might, it might come out and the like adjustments and everything they did to it is like done enough to notice, and they're like, ah, I'll still just buy it. Like,
Gotcha.
but the stacks of corruption that you get from Riftmaker will deal more damage over time, especially combined with an Imperial mandate on your team. You know, it's pretty strong.
Do you see Morgana going of less of a DPS route, more of a utility with like if you went the Rylai's build?
I mean, she kind of, yeah.
Just
I
have
feel like right now she's first utility, then damage
okay.
in the game. Like, first she's just there to farm and provide shield and whatever. But like, she's always going to be both, I think, because she does deal her AP scaling like does deal damage. But I feel like she's definitely going to be more about just binding and blocking and being more of like a pocket pick for compositions where there's, you know, lots of AP damage.
Like a good
I don't
wombo
know.
combo
I
would
mean, they're
be.
definitely trying to force ADCs to be more prevalent in the game, so APCs are dwindling down.
Gotcha. Who's still a popular APC that we'd be able to blind pick?
I think Lux is a good blind pick.
Hmm.
Pretty strong. Like she scales safe. You can just put her in the bot lane, or you can put her mid. In the bot lane, like you're pretty much free lane. Like if you're good with her, like either you stay go even, or they can't unless they dive you.
I
Late game scaling damage, like having a Lux on your team isn't bad if you build a comp around it. You blind pick it.
and the shields are massive. I tend to ban Lux
Mm-hmm.
a lot more than other champions because for some reason her binding always hits me. No, it'll warp around minions just to grab me by the foot as I'm running off screen away from her. I have no idea how she does it, but she absolutely does every single time.
But you should try not walking into them next time.
Fuck, why didn't I think about that?
Yeah, it's usually good.
Now I know. Now I know. Walk away from them. Got it. Got it. Good to know.
match those puddles with a fully stacked Leandri's Torment, or rather, if you're full build with full AP items, this Leandri's Torment is gonna deal more than 12% of the enemy's maximum HP over 3 seconds. And trust me, you don't want to be caught in that one.
That's
So
huge
if
zone
you
control.
ever want to play Morgana, you will need
Mm-hmm.
Leandri's Torment. And the only question that remains is, at what place? Normally you can build Leandri's Torment on the second or third position of your build. So most of the time you will have it on the second or third position, but then immediately after or before have a Rabadon Staff Cap. Rabadon's Staff Cap itself
Yeah.
doesn't increase Morgana's damage on the second ability too much because the enemy needs to be low for the execute damage to kick in.
Okay.
So to avoid this and give him more poking power, the Leandri's Torment is going to help out a little bit earlier. But if you happen to go Leandri second, you will
Yeah,
only
like if
get
you just go, I
that.
think if you build
As
Riftmaker second and then you get the death cap, then you proc more damage off this tax of corruption you're getting
Okay.
for the next patch.
So are you potentially looking Well, I guess we're talking about solo queue, but for team compositions, are you looking potentially at something like a Jarvan Morgana composition where Jarvan locks them into Morgana's pool?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah.
Oh, don't give away the secrets. Got it. Understand. Understand. Smart. Don't give it away to the 30 people that are going to watch this video.
As I
Yeah.
said before,
I
as a
mean, we
win
don't really
condition,
play
the more
Jarvan.
items you gain, the more of a monster you become, and the enemy will not be able to fight against you. Please don't build items such as Rylai's, you will just handicap your own build and own damage,
She
for no
missed.
reason, unless you're going for the full support
Nice.
Morgana build with a Rylai's and a Mandate. Other than that, don't do it. The next blind pick is also gonna be an AP champion. Don't forget, those blind picks are only for solo queue, and because
I
the
like
solo
Gwen.
queue games are extended unbelievably long, AP champions become severely broken for no apparent reason. And with Gwen, we have another champion that is dominating the solo queue ladder once you understand what this champion does. And usually that revolves around getting to free items. And the peculiar reason is all AP champions are broken with free items. Surprise!
Okay.
Because they're scaling heavily into the game. The primary reason for this is that AP items are just broken in what they provide and how the game is played. It's just significantly harder to pilot an AD champion,
It's really important information that he's telling you right there.
rather than
So yeah, let's talk about it. Do you feel that that is accurate? As soon as you hit 3 items, the game's pretty much over if you have a scaling AP champion such as Gwen.
I mean, ideally, you want that's the track that you're going for, but it's because you need the items and the gold to get the boosts in AP and the buffs and the advantages for it because you're just like a glass cannon, especially with Gwen. My issue with blind picking Gwen is in higher elo. If you know what's going on, like you know she's just going to be farming
Yep.
majority of the game, like early.
Just ignore her.
Uh, she doesn't have a lot of dive potential until level 5 because of her range. Unless she's able to walk up the lane as something's being set up. So you can get countered really easily with like early game jungle, or if you don't ban Olaf and like punish when early solo queue. Like there's players that think like that. So and at least in higher elo. So like I don't know. And if especially if like Yone is not banned, like Yone beats Gwen really hard. I don't know if like that's a blind pick per se. Maybe because like a lot of people don't know how to beat her or how to fight against her,
Mm-hmm.
and not a lot of people like invade, do all these things you need to do. So she just like people just let her become broken.
Yep.
But
So where are you seeing Gwen mostly? Top lane, jungle now?
yeah, she's gonna get pushed to top lane because the next patch is adjusting her damage to monsters.
Okay.
And yeah, like because of the fact that she needs to scale, she needs to be in a position where she can just like continuously gain more farm, but she doesn't deal enough damage early with her clear speed.
Okay.
Um, I think, and she's just like kind of squishy. So I don't know. It's just like her early game pressure like just isn't good. Like right now, there's a big struggle I think with like early game versus scaling junglers and like knowing when to pick them.
Okay.
And if you blind pick Gwen jungle and they figure it out before the third pick, then you could.
Abuse it.
There's a lot of opportunities, yeah, where they could potentially abuse that.
Okay. So pick some. If it's Gwen jungle, pick something early and aggressive. Would you say maybe a Lee Sin?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kha'Zix would probably be no, because the thing is that Gwen's shield you can't be targeted, so you need a champion that can essentially jump onto her and use abilities that don't require you to target a champion. So skill shots and
You know what?
like AOE.
If she's getting
So
pushed to the top lane,
Kha'Zix is
Cat.
probably really good because he just does really good damage to isolated targets early. Olaf is a given. You could probably catch her at Scuttle. I want to say maybe with Pantheon if you catch her on cooldown, but because he just is a really good strong
Early
early
game.
game.
Yep.
So,
You know, if she does get pushed to top lane,
Gwen, essentially Gwen's just really weak up to like level 5. So
how,
any junglers that have a strong level 3, level 5 power spike, and try to find advantages.
good to know. Good to know. So any early game aggressive champions for that. However, though, if she does get pushed to top lane, which you probably said is probably going to happen, how do you feel about a top lane Kassadin into Gwen?
Mm.
Both scale. Kassadin might scale damage harder. It's got the AOE and the skill shot silence, so might be a
Yeah, I mean
solid counter.
the silence is huge, but uh, Gwen is a lot of her abilities are also uh, auto attack based. So I don't know. I'd have to see it. I don't think she does it. I don't know. I'm not really sure how she would do in that matchup. I don't think I have enough information on that.
Yeah,
But like
probably not.
confidently,
We should test it. We should test it sometime. But I guess we can keep moving on in this video. We're about halfway there.
Having some mage use AoE abilities to completely dominate a corridor or an area. Especially in the jungle
yeah,
role,
all
Gwen
spells that
is
come from outside of
actually
zone. Yeah,
performing
so like
quite well. If you're
that's
still
why I
playing
think
first
that
ability,
Gwen
you'll just clear faster with this one.
probably wins
The
that
next patch, as they showed
still
in the preview, is going to
Mm.
change a
early
bit about that
because
one, but we'll see what
uh,
happens, so
she just needs to
don't
auto
worry
attack
too
and then
much.
press her ability once to deal with the damage. Whereas
For lane,
Kassadin needs to
we still need to
combo.
make the decision what is going to be better. Is it the first ability or the second or the third ability? Because the first ability allows us to have different trading patterns, also influencing the wave differently than the third ability.
Yeah,
So depending
yeah,
on the matchup, you'll most likely scale differently. But for the scaling part, all you have to do is survive, and that's pretty much possible against most
yep.
of the matchups during laning phase and then jungle
Nice
anyway.
thresh hook.
It's just a super scale champion that is relatively easy to execute. The next champion on this list is similar to that one, but it's an AD
Yeah,
Yasuo
Yeah,
version
absolutely.
of a monster that nobody wants to have
I
on their
think
team
Yone is
or
a
the enemy team.
stronger blind pick than Gwen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just the mobility, the plays that you're able to set up, the crowd control,
Yeah.
the damage, the survivability, the fact that you can tether yourself back to where your initial point is to get yourself out of sticky
Hmm.
situations.
Yeah,
Phenomenally broken champion.
Team.
yeah.
The obvious reason for this, on your team, he's always going to be 0 and
Like
10,
I
and
would
on the
put
enemy team, he's going to be 2 and 5
Yone
and 0.
Gwen
But
and
with this
play
champion,
a
you have a
blind pick.
champion that is able to influence the fight like no Yasuo could ever do,
Such a
without putting
great
himself
champion
through
for
too much
Wild
risk.
Rift
Oh
too.
yeah.
The
Like
issue
I'm
this
really
champion
glad they
has
brought
is
him.
that he's super squishy, and if you mess up just once, you might immediately die. But if you play this
He's been
champion like you'd play Katarina and
he's
just
been
focus
definitely
the
picker
entire
ban
game a
and
bit,
competitive
you will get the
Oh
angle,
right
yeah.
get
now.
the entire enemy
I
team
believe
or
it.
the vital targets, and send them back into the Shadow Realm in an instant. Your ultimate CCs them long enough for you to hit them and beat them up and just give them no chance of playing the game. And for no reason, your champion deals so much damage, it's crazy. And even though this champion has clear weaknesses during the laning phase, since he's played in mid lane predominantly, they cannot really be abused because mid lane as a lane is very difficult to gank
Yep.
or to punish depending on the champions you have. And even if you're in a bad situation, you can always unfreeze the wave with your third ability and then just snap back once you see that you're getting collapsed on.
How do you feel about what he said so far?
I mean, he's right. That's how you play him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Just be aggressive. Um, I don't know. That's at least that's how I've played him. It was just over aggression. Because a lot of times people don't know how to react to over aggression.
Yeah, especially in lower elo.
Yep. Put them on their back foot, keep them there.
Is literally unfair, and this champion has way too many strength compared to his weaknesses, and I really hope he's gonna see more nerfs than the nerfs he's gonna get, because let's be honest, it's not an adjustment, it's a nerf, but it's not gonna be enough to deal with this champion's damage. Because if there's anything this
Yeah.
champion has too much, it's
So the
damage.
next patch that what they did, I think he's just going to essentially like scale later
Yep.
instead of being so strong early. They adjusted his base AD or some of his AD scaling early. Um, So they're probably either that or you're just gonna need to adjust the build early game to gain back some of that AD. Um, Instead of going Solari, like maybe you go Blade of the Ruined King then Solari, but it just depends on how that ratio actually ends up translating into the game.
It sounds fair to push his power to the late game because he is the Yasuo that's a better Yasuo. And Yasuo isn't known as the early bully, really, except for in a couple of matchups. So
I
definitely
mean,
makes
yeah,
sense.
level 3 Yasuo's pretty strong most matchups.
The fact that he can move around, just like I'm thinking like level 1, level 2, probably not going to be the strongest, but maybe when you pull up the wind wall, you're able to negate a lot of that damage coming in. Gotcha. Okay, let's move on and see what they have. I think this is their final
Our
final
next
pick.
solid blind pick is
Shin. Okay.
Shin is one of those champions that is severely underrated as well as really powerful depending on the context you're gonna play him.
I can agree with
His
this.
laning phase is really potent, especially if you understand what to do with his first ability. You can hide your first ability in an enemy brush inside the lane, and then once the enemy approaches to get minions, you can recall the blade and pull it through him, and then get the attack speed bonus and more bonus damage on your first ability.
That's nice.
Yeah.
With this, you can dominate trading patterns during the laning phase and put the enemy into
If
a
you
bad
ban
spot
Riven,
already from
yeah.
the get-go. And this, since Sen has an ability
Set
that
top
is a
lane's
dash
pretty
on level 2
popular
if you decide to skill it,
right now,
you'll
so
have
like that
all-in
could be an
pressure
issue.
thanks to
You
the
blind
grab
pick
and this
Chen.
ability. So if when an enemy
Um,
is trying to walk up to do this, you can punish the enemy.
Whoop, whoop.
Also, don't
You said set top lane is pretty popular right now.
I've been seeing it at least in solo queue because I run into it when I play like yeah I've played Shen, I've run into that and Riven. I play Fiora, I run into Set. Um, so yeah, like Shen, I think is good. If you can play the Set or Riven matchup,
You know,
but he's just good because he's just a lane bully and like once he's just strong early. They haven't really touched him either. Like I think it's solid. Like if you're a really good Shen.
yep. And you just build him full tank, and that's really all you need to do because he's a taunt shield machine. One of the downsides of playing him though, like or a lot of teams don't take advantage of playing against him is they will like say they'll fight in dragon lane. That allows Shin to teleport down, take the fight to him. If you can tower dive him, collapse onto him, this negates his ultimate completely because what is he going to do? Ultimate out? Maybe, but if you crowd control him, it stops it. If you kill him, it stops it. So,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of at least that's my thought. If you're going to play into a Shin, take the fight to him instead of letting him do what he's known for. So keep moving through this video.
First ability grants you an extended auto attack range that you want to play around exactly with your grasp proc. That way you'll have even more damage and your trades get really unfair. To add even more pain to the mix, you can just use the Divine Sundra and get infinite healing from trading and outdamage enemies while dealing percentage health all the time. This time in magic damage and physical damage thanks to the item. That way it gets
Some
really
good Shen videos.
to deal with you unless they commit also.
Much better than that Jace.
Don't forget,
Yeah,
Shen
for
also
real.
features something very unique. The ability to go for the Hullbreaker and still able to ultimate to the entire
That's a long
team
walk
on
to
the other
top
side of
lane.
the map. With the ultimate,
Yeah,
you
but his
will be
wave's
able
pushed
to
up,
relocate
Nasus is
super
freezing
fast
instead
while
of
having dealt with a
pushing.
terrible wave already, and then having your team set up for success while you help them out, and your lane is running into the enemy tower, and therefore they are losing minions and gold while you're getting a lot of value. But be very careful to not do this too often when your wave is in a bad spot, especially when platings are still available. The enemy might capitalize on that one and the gold lead will be too
So what that
small,
Nasus should have
so you
done is
can't
he should
face
have
the
shoved
enemy
wave.
anymore.
Yep,
And
just
that's it
denied
for
him all the
today's video.
minions, but he
Thank
saved
you
it
for
all for
Yeah.
him.
watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to
Yeah,
leave
that's
a
why
like and
it's really
subscribe to the
like
channel and
into
comment for
matchups
more
like
content.
I mean even Fiora can be really good into Shen. Um, because anytime you're just trying to ult or get away, like they'll just shove lane and abuse your turret and sometimes in solo queue at the you TPing in isn't gonna be worth it. So You know,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't really know if this is a good blind pick, just because there's a lot of really good Baron laners in higher elo,
Yeah.
but in lower elo, I think you can like definitely abuse it.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. No, I can definitely see it. Like I thought it was a good pick when they picked it. Like I didn't think of it in my mind. But like you said, what champions could be better? Fiora's probably been one of the most dominant top laners. Um, Set for sure, just because of his kit. Just the fact that he's got
Yeah.
such utility in his crowd control. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess this best blind picks turned into how do we counter pick the best blind picks?
Well, I mean, you that's what you have to look at when you're trying to make a blind pick is how flexible is it in order to like, we're talking solo queues. So let's say you blind pick a Lux. They don't know if that's going to go mid or support.
Yep.
They won't know that until after they've picked. So in higher elo, like a lot of people will just swap around, especially now that you can just swap around as many times as you want to get your picks, which I think is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you know, that's one thing you have to look at is how flexible is this blind pick to make them think they don't know where it's going to go until at least the third pick um, that they get on their side, um, or on the other side as well. So there's that, and then you have to also look, be confident in yourself and your ability to like play that champion and know all the matchups that you need to win lane because you get 10 bans, and there's a lot of counters to some champions where they can't really play weak side
Yeah.
or they can't really play strong side in that matchup if they're blind picked. So especially Baron lane, at least in competitive, like we look at uh, locking in Baron lane sometimes towards the end because we send out some bait of like flex picks
Mm-hmm.
out in the beginning and be like, oh, you make them think that Gragas is going to go top, but we send him mid or whatever. So there's that, and we Gragas is pretty strong into a lot of other Baron laners and doesn't have too many counters.
Oh yeah, because
Um,
you can build him multiple ways, and he will still
yeah,
provide the same amount of utility or damage.
yeah. But it also depends on how comfortable you are with the champion. Like Garen can be the ultimate blind pick. So it's like, how good you are with it. Riven could be a good blind pick because it takes a lot of skill to play her, and if really really good Riven can play most matchups. I think Renekton is really strong right now in Baron Lane. I think other like picks like support, like I said earlier, like I feel like Nami, Karma are really good blind picks. Um, I don't think ADC is really strong blind pick right now, and I don't think mid is either.
Okay.
Um, but definitely like Baron and jungle champions or support champions are a lot better for blind pick right now because they either you don't give away too much information, you can provide more flexibility in those matchups, like counters and whatnot, and it also can kind of like set the tone for everyone else in the lobby to like see what kind of comp we're going to be playing.
You know what? Now
Um, you
now
know,
that I'm thinking about it, Garen might be the pick. He very well might be because I mean he neutralizes Shin's ultimate with his silence, and he's still just extremely tanky and does the damage. So Garen might be the pick. You can put him in top lane.
no,
You can put him in mid lane.
it was no, it's just like an example. Like I said, he could be because if you're just a really, really, really good Garen, then you know, the number one Garen can blind pick Garen.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I'm trying to
That's
say.
fair. That's fair.
So
I don't
there's a
know.
lot of that goes into it, but there's definitely champion. I agree with what he said. You know, like Jace. I think Jace is a good blind pick. Yone definitely a good blind pick. Um,
Morgana.
what was Morgana? I think Morgana, yeah, is a good blind pick. Um, so definitely some points here, but just a lot to consider.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Okay.
you
Well,
know,
I'm
I
I'm
don't want
going.
people to like
Uh,
you just like look at a video and then go, "Oh, this guy, he said all this stuff." Like I really believe him, and then all of a sudden you're still
exactly,
not
because
losing
you you
or not
you
winning.
you come to a challenger guide video and expect to get good information, which a lot of it did seem like valid, good information when he starts explaining it.
It is. No, it
Um,
is really good information. Like it's solid. Everything that he's saying is not wrong. I think there's just other ways to look at it,
okay.
and they don't tell you all that. I think they just tell you about the champions, um, which is good. But,
Okay. Well, last question, Bonsai. I'm going to give you the honors. Do we like this
mm,
video or we dislike this video?
I like this video.
All right.
It was
So,
it was funny. The Jace,
just
the first video of the AFK Baron lane Lee Sin letting Jace get free turret, and then we're just talking about how awesome Jace is, and they're like, "Yeah, look at Jace,
look
he's
how
so
good he
cool.
is. That's my pick. Yeah.
Look how great of a number one blind pick Jace is."
Yeah.
And then it's just him getting a free lane.
It's almost like clickbait.
The Yone content was good. The Shen gameplay for the explanation was really good.
Yep.
I didn't agree with the pick, but I agreed with everything that was going on. Yeah, and he was right about what he said. You can do a lot on the map with Shen. If you're really good Shen, like
Yeah.
you can do a lot. And like I said, if the number one Shen can blind pick Shen,
Yeah. What about the number two? Can the number two Shen blind pick Shen?
I I hope so. If the number one hasn't already blind picked it,
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. What happens if the number one and number two goes against each other? We'll never know. We'll never know.
we'll never know. We'll never know who's the better Shen. It just gets picked at the end.
But I guess with that, Bonsai, I appreciate you coming on. Do you want to shout anybody out? Do you want to shout out Noxian?
Yeah, I mean, shout out NXGL. Check us out on our community Discord. We're trying slowly but surely to make a mark on the competitive esports scene, Wild Rift. It's definitely a process, and just appreciate all the support. I'm glad that everybody's out here making content for the community because that's what we need. Just more eyes on us, more.
Absolutely. So, in the bottom of this video, down in the description, we will actually put the link to Noxian's Discord channel. It's pretty big. I think they run like tournaments and stuff, right? Prize pool tournaments.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
But it's still pretty active. It's a good LFG, and if you're just looking for a place to come and hang out, there's definitely some good players around, and then you can just kind of get see a little how but our esports team does, and get connected there. Watch some more Wild Rift content.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, thanks for coming on, Bonsai. If anybody's interested in NXG, Noxian, is it Guillotine Glory?
Glory.
Glory. Check the link in the description, and we'll see you on the Rift. Peace.